Oh, folks. I know you all have been waiting for this video. I really apologize. I'm so sorry. A bunch of shit went down. You get to see a little bit of my oldest right back there. Oops. Okay, so a lot of stuff went down this week, both in the Avery case and for me personally. For those of you that are not aware, my mother was in the hospital for the last month or so. She's getting old, and she's stubborn, and she doesn't go to the doctor. And they ended up transferring her from my hometown to the city that I live in now for medical care. And so, like, I was running around trying to help her, trying to be, you know, as helpful to her as I could be, trying to translate what the doctors were saying because, you know, she's blonde. And not really. That's the funny thing. The woman is a little tiny Mexican woman, and somehow she's blonder than I am. Theoretically, or figuratively, if not literally. So, anywho, you know the shit is good when mama busts out a real live smoky treat. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Vanilla Dreams. I ran out and I bought a couple packs of these things when I heard that Zellner was filing her motion in court. And I had to, because this demands a real life smoky treat. So Alma, click. You know, hi Ashley. Hi Gina. How you doing? So I wanted to go through the first 13 pages of this motion. It's going to take at least a couple of videos for this. This thing is 125 pages. And that Zellner demands a comprehensive analysis of her work. The woman is a master, quite frankly. My mind was blown the second I started reading this thing. And I know you all have been waiting. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's get into this. Pursuant to Wisconsin statutes, blah, 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 Stephen Avery, through his attorneys, Kathleen Zellner and Associates, and Tricia Bushnell, moves for an order for post-conviction testing of physical evidence collected in connection with Mr. Avery's conviction of first-degree murder. Mr. Avery asserts he is innocent and that additional scientific testing can, once again, prove he did not commit the crime for which he has been convicted. Mr. Avery is requesting and is willing to pay for the most comprehensive, thorough, and advanced forensic testing ever requested by a criminal defendant in the state of Wisconsin. By doing this additional and totally comprehensive testing, a guilty defendant would risk conclusively establishing his guilt. In contrast, Mr. Avery is requesting the comprehensive, thorough, and most advanced forensic testing currently known for one simple reason. He is completely and totally innocent of the murder of Teresa Halbach. We know all this, but that's the setup. Here's the pitch. Background. Mr. Avery was charged on November 15, 2005 with first-degree intentional homicide and mutilation of a corpse. Get this shit, kids. The complaint was later amended to include possession of a firearm by a felon. Wait. What? Wasn't possession of a firearm by a felon the charge that they used as an excuse to take Avery into custody on November 9th? So why wasn't the criminal complaint amended until November 15th? Guess what, kids? That's illegal. That is false imprisonment. To tell him that he's being charged with one thing, but in reality he's being arrested on something totally different that they didn't even advise him that he was being arrested for? What the fuck? Section 2. The conviction related to the October 31st, 2005 death of Miss Halbach. Ms. Halbach had an appointment to take photos of vehicles at the Avery Salvage Yard for the magazine on October 31st. Ms. Halbach disappeared after she completed her assignment and left the Avery Salvage Yard. Get this, kids. Get this. And remember who told you first. Her last call forwarded message at 2:41 p.m. occurred when her cell phone was still powered on and registered. That call pinged off the Whitelaw Tower, which was approximately 13.1 miles from the Avery Salvage property. Okay, kids. Do you recall a few months back, and I can't possibly tell you, when, the exact date of me telling you that the cell phone records showed that she had left the Avery salvage yard alive and stayed gone? So, yeah. I don't have access to the records that Zellner has access to. So, nor do I have access to the experts that she has. I can't read cell phone tower bullshit. So, sorry, but, Zellner just proved it. And here's the thing. I'm getting really sick and tired of these idiots saying stupid shit like Zellner's just another broad who's taken up for Avery. Blah, blah, blah. Or this is just her theory. Kids, let's get one thing straight. Kathleen Zellner is the single most powerful wrongful conviction attorney in the country. The woman knows her shit. And she has got a reputation like fuck. Okay? She is not about to stake her reputation on a theory. She wouldn't put shit in this motion unless she could prove it. Because that is the mark of a true attorney. Don't ask a question you don't already know the answer to. You never do it. That's like rule number 2 out of the fucking attorney rule book. Never, ever, ever ask a question that you don't already know the answer to. She would not put it in here if she did not have something to back it up. Scientific proof to back it up. Keep that in mind as we go through. Paragraph 3. Ms. Holbach's voicemail box had a 20-message capacity. She had some good service. I only have room for 7 on mine. Five of Ms. Holbach's voicemails were deleted on October 31st, 2005. What? Excuse me? Huh? We only heard of voicemails being deleted on November 2nd. We were never apprised, the public and the jury were never ever apprised of 5 fucking voicemails being deleted on the last day she was seen alive. Qua? Where the fuck did that come from? Get this though. We were told by Jerry Buting that 8 voice messages were deleted on November 2nd. Madam Zellner, Esquire, states here another 11 voicemails were deleted before 7:12 a.m. on November 2nd, 2005. You fucking what when? 11? 11? Before 7:12 a.m. I'm lucky if I can get the fuck in my car at 7:12 a.m. Let alone what was going on there, kids? And who was doing it? That's the question you have to ask yourself going through this. Further down, she says, Miss Holbach's Motorola Razr, and by the way, I used to own one of these, so I can actually speak with quite a bit of authority on how these things work. I miss that phone. I miss that phone. It was a fucking great phone. Motorola, bring back the Razr, please. I loved it. I don't need a little mini computer in my hand. I just want a phone. Miss Holbach's Motorola Razr featured one-touch dialing for voicemail, which would allow anyone in possession of her cell phone to access her voicemail. I can actually attest to the truthfulness of that. And actually almost any cell phone that you use now is the same way. My current cell phone, I have a Galaxy S3. My current cell phone is the same thing. As long as I'm calling my voice messages from my phone, I don't need to put in a PIN code. Of course, I also don't know how the fuck to access them from a line other than my cell phone, because why the fuck would I have a cell phone if I'm not going to check my voicemails on it? Just a thing, you know? So, if somebody didn't have her passcode for her cell phone than they had the cell phone. And they had to power it on, which means it should have pinged. Ooh, it's getting juicy up in here. Okay. Item 5. On November 3rd, 2005, Officer Colburn discovered the victim's vehicle and called dispatch on a personal line to confirm the victim's license plate number. Who said it? I don't mean to toot my own horn, but you know, guys, I've heard a lot of shit over these past 6 months, about how I'm a hack or whatever the fuck. Well, guess what, kids? Everything that I've said is found somewhere in this motion. Just saying. Eat me. That's to all my haters, to all my lovers. I love y'all. Mwah. But didn't we say this, kids? Didn't we say this months ago? Why the fuck would Colburn feel the need to call in a plate to confirm it if he was given the plate number by Wiegert? That doesn't make any sense at all. And especially on his personal cell phone. Why would he call on a personal cell phone for police official business unless he was trying to hide something? You know, this whole fucking investigation was just a farcical fucking bullshit nonsense from beginning to end. I'm just saying. On November 3rd, according to the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department's reports, Ms. Halbach's vehicle was seized. Now, this is in the CASO report, kids. And here's the thing. As I noticed that, I saw that, and I thought to myself, no. They couldn't have possibly been so stupid as to include that in an official document that they had possession of the car on the 3rd when it wasn't discovered until the 5th. There's no way. I'm sitting there thinking they couldn't possibly be this stupid. Well, apparently they are. Because again, Zellner would not include it in this motion if she didn't have proof. Item 6. Ms. Halbach's vehicle was moved to the southeast corner of the Avery property on the evening of November 4th, 2005, after Calumet County Sheriff Jerry Poggle and investigator Wendy Baldwin, Wendy's back! Yay! Conducted a flyover of the Avery salvage yard. A flyover which was released to the public, but which never had a timestamp, a date stamp anywhere on that videotape, which, by the way, is standard operating procedure. And I'm pretty sure that they did that specifically so that they could later say, oh, well, no, that videotape was taken after the vehicle was found and taken into custody. You fucking slimy bastards. Oh, my God. Ms. Halbach's vehicle was moved from the Fred Redant Sons Inc. quarry to the Avery property using the conveyor road that led onto the Avery property from the quarry. Now, kids, didn't we already say something like this? What the fuck was Josh Redant doing on the Avery property after it had been sealed off to the public? He had no official capacity there. It gets better. I'm so excited about this. Item 7. Significantly, the Manitowoc County Coroner, Deborah Kakich, was not informed of the murder by law enforcement personnel. Instead, she learned of it by watching television, and there is no record of Miss Kakich being allowed on the Avery property during evidence collection. Well, gee, I wonder why. Huh? Kids? Anybody? Wiegert? Bossbender? Colburn? Link? Oh, that's right. They wouldn't allow her on the property because she wouldn't lie for them another time. And she was a threat to this whole fucking network bullshit. Item 8. Either Officer Link and or Officer Colburn were connected to the discovery of each item of planted evidence. Officer Colburn seized the victim's car on November 3rd, 2 days prior to it being planted on the Avery property. They entered the Avery property twice on November 7th, 2005, prior to the charred bones and key being discovered on November 8th. Officer Link and Colburn testified they discovered the key in Mr. Avery's bedroom on November 8th. Officer Link was conducting a search of the garage when bullet fragments were discovered. What did I say, kids? Not a single fucking shred of the evidence that was used to convict Stephen Avery cannot be directly tied to these two idiots. Link, Colburn, a little tip for you in the future. If you're gonna plant evidence, don't be the one to discover it. Just fucking put it down and leave. And let somebody else find it. That's kind of in the we're gonna frame somebody handbook. My God. Item 9. Non-law enforcement individuals were also allowed to enter the property after the property was closed to the general public. Now, she doesn't name names, but we can piece together who these two idiots are, can't we? Individual A accessed the property from the quarry 4 times for some unknown reason after it had been closed to the public. Well, guess whose name appeared 4 times in the log? Josh Redant. Specifically, individual A accessed the property within minutes of Officers Colburn and Lank on November 5th and twice on November 7th. Take a look, kids. You'll see that I'm right. I'll throw a link for this motion as well as the CASO report down below so you can take a look, see, and check my facts. Item 10, individual B accessed the property using a false name. Individual B misrepresented that the victim's blinker light was broken months before and that she had made an insurance claim for it. Well, okay. So obviously individual B is someone who had intimate knowledge of Teresa Hallbach. I can think of 3 names. Mike Hallbach, Scott Blodern, and Ryan Hilgas. I wonder who. What I love here, though, is civilian search map attached and incorporated herein as Exhibit G. Remember that lovely little awkward-ass fucking interview? Where he's like, oh no, I was never on the property. I was never on the property. Yeah, you were, Ryan. Yeah, you were. On November 3rd, individual B placed 3 calls to the singular customer service account and password assistance line. Really? Individual B received approximately 22 calls from law enforcement on November 4th, 2005, prior to the victim's vehicle being moved onto the property. Individual B accessed the Avery property twice on November 7th and once on November 8th after the property was closed to the public. Well, gee, kids. Whose cell phone records did she include in this motion? Ryan Hilgas. We narrow it down, don't we? Okay, item 11. Most of Ms. Hallbach's bones and 29 of her teeth were not found in Mr. Avery's burn pit. That's significant, kids. How do you not find that many bone fragments and teeth if that's where she was burned? You don't. That's the fucking point. Dr. Eisenberg also admitted that the bones had been moved prior to their location in Mr. Avery's burn pit. Well, thanks for that, doctor. Get your fucking degree out of a Cracker Jack box there, did ya? Dr. Eisenberg testified that she suspected that the bones found in the Redant quarry, which included a pelvis, were human. You suspected it, Eisenberg? You fucking suspected it? There's this little thing called forensic analysis, DNA testing. How do you only suspect? Why didn't you order the necessary tests to conclude? Hello? fucking Mickey Mouse goddamn operation. Item 13. Despite the exhaustive, comprehensive search of Mr. Avery's trailer and extensive testing, not one drop of the victim's blood or bodily fluids was ever discovered in Mr. Avery's trailer or garage or on the evidence seized from the trailer or garage. This is significant, kids. There is no way that crime happened the way that Kratz said that it happened, and not a single fucking drop, not a shred of her DNA was found anywhere inside his trailer or his garage. Doesn't happen. Does not happen. Period. Item 14. Suspiciously, there were no bloody fingerprints of Mr. Avery in or on the vehicle, despite the fact that he could not have been wearing gloves when he allegedly deposited blood in the vehicle. Didn't we say this months ago, kids? I mean, come on now. Use your head. None of the 8 latent fingerprints found in and on the victim's vehicle belonged to Mr. Avery. And apparently they didn't belong to Halbach either, otherwise they would have said so. So who the fuck's fingerprints are they? One of the most compelling scientific facts pointing to planted blood evidence is that there was no mixture of Miss Halbach and Mr. Avery's blood, despite the state's claim that the bleeding Mr. Avery threw Miss Halbach in the rear cargo area of her vehicle. And here's the thing, kids. DNA testing is at this wonderful stage, and it was even then, that you could take a drop of blood from individual A, take a drop of blood from individual B, mix them together, and the testing will separate out the DNA sequences from the individual drops. It won't contaminate the sample, which is how they even determine a lot of times who committed a murder. Okay? So for there to be no blood of Avery's in the same places where Halbach's blood was found is severely significant. Okay? All right. Moving on. Item 15. Officer Colburn conducted an hour-long search of Avery's small bookcase. Why did you need an hour to search that fucking thing? I could have cleaned that shit out, wiped it down, lemon oiled the shit out of it, and put everything back in like 20 minutes. It's a small fucking bookcase. Why'd you need so long, Colburn? Why'd you need so long with that bookcase? Maybe you were trying to find a compartment to facilitate the key? Huh? Maybe you were prying away that backing a little bit? Maybe? You fucking piece of shit. I don't believe in hell, but if there is one, I hope you fucking rot. Allegedly, this key had Mr. Avery's complete DNA profile, but not Miss Halbach's. This is the part that gets me though, kids. Listen. Although no presumptive blood testing was done by the state, which would suggest where the DNA came from, their expert nonetheless testified that Mr. Avery's blood from his cut finger had masked Miss Halbach's DNA profile. That is the single laziest fucking forensic explanation I have ever fucking heard. Oh my God. There's not even any physical evidence, any scientific evidence to back that up. Jesus fuck, kids. I mean, if you're gonna lie, at least try to make it believable. There are conflicting dates, November 5th and November 7th, about law enforcement's discovery of the remnants of Miss Halbach's Motorola Razr cell phone, Palm Pilot, and camera in a burn barrel in Mr. Avery's yard. Listen here. No mention was made at trial or anywhere in the fucking investigation file that I've seen about the second Motorola cell phone taken from Miss Halbach's home on November fucking 3rd. Excuse me? Baking powder? I thought I just heard you say that there was a second Motorola Razr phone found. A second one? Or the only one that Teresa actually owned and not the replacement that law enforcement went out, bought, and put in the fucking burn barrel? And if her phone was at home, Where was Teresa? I'm just going to let that hang in the air. You guys go ahead and draw your own conclusions. The contradictory evidence about the cell phone is as follows. A. Officer Wiegert's affidavit states that on November 5th, officers located a burn barrel containing burnt clothing and a partially burnt shovel, but does not mention a cell phone. B. State Crime Lab Field Response's scene note states that at 6:15, a fifth barrel reportedly containing remnants of a Motorola cellular phone had also been transported to the SO on Chilton. C. Sheriff Poggle's affidavit says that on November 5th, officers located a burn barrel near the residence of Stephen Avery, in which officers located burnt clothing, a partially burned shovel, and fragments of a Motorola cellular phone. D. The criminal complaint states that on November 5th, officers located a burn barrel near the residence of Stephen Avery, and in it located burned clothing and a partially burned shovel. A cell phone is never mentioned anywhere in the criminal complaint. Not once. E. Officer Dietering's affidavit contains the exact same statement as Sheriff Poggle's. Cheating off each other's papers, boys, just like you did at the academy. Placing the cell phone in a barrel found on November 5th with clothing and a shovel, and does not mention a camera, despite the camera having been confirmed as Canon PowerShot A13, blah, blah, blah. Item 18. Mr. Avery's garage was searched 6 times before the final searches were conducted on March 2nd and 3rd, 2006, during which police recovered a nearly intact .22 caliber long rifle bullet and bullet fragments that the state subsequently claimed contained Ms. Halbach's DNA. This is where it gets good. No presumptive blood testing was performed on the bullet or fragment, nor was any scientific testing done to determine the organ, i.e. heart, liver, brain, from which Ms. Halbach's cells from the bullet fragment originated. That's standard procedure so that you can piece together how the fucking crime happened. No ballistic expert testified to the fact that it is highly improbable that any .22 long-range bullet, much less 2, could have exited Miss Halbach's skull. On April 3rd, this is item 20, on April 3rd, based upon Dassey's coerced confession, a swab was taken from the hood latch of the victim's car. I love this. I love this. Kratz, she just stuffs this one right up your ass. I love you, Zellner. It is undisputed that there is no such thing as sweat DNA. Again, no presumptive blood test was performed on the swab. Undisputed, bitch. Get over it. No DNA or fingerprint testing was done on the interior hood release, the prop bar from the hood, or the disconnected battery cable under the hood. Although it would have been impossible for Mr. Avery not to have touched the interior hood release and the prop bar of the hood if he had opened the vehicle's hood, these 2 items were never tested for the presence of DNA. Additionally, according to the state, Mr. Avery disconnected the battery cable, yet the cable was never tested for DNA. Okay, kids, so that's the ending of the arguable facts. I will talk about the argument itself in the next video. But Zellner just completely laid out all... She basically took the state's case and rammed it straight up their ass. You boys constipated yet? The fact is, and I'm going to say it again, Zellner is too smart. And any attorney worth their salt, anybody other than Kaczynski, Kratz, will not include in a motion, especially one to the appeals court and to the district court on a conviction, anything that she does not already have definitive scientific proof. Period. Get the fuck over it. Zellner knows exactly what she's about. Now, I will admit, I'm slightly disappointed. I was kind of hoping that Stephen Avery would be home this weekend. But the time is nigh. So, yeah, I'm going to do another video probably tomorrow. I've got a shitload of homework I got to get done. We're in the last 2 weeks of my classes. So I got finals coming up, so I got to cram. Probably going to cart my happy ass over to the village and pull a couple of all-nighters. But this motion is just pure poetry, and I love how Zellner does this. A lot of lawyers, especially the ones that are full of shit, will fill their motions with flowery Latin and language and all kinds of bullshit. Hi, Kratz. If you read one of Kratz's motions, oh my god. It's like reading fucking stereo instructions. Unless you speak legalese, you get lost real fucking easy. Kathleen Zellner writes it in nice, plain language because she is not bullshitting. She has proof. She can back it up. Now, incidentally, before I sign off tonight, I would like to draw your attention to this. I'll throw a link for this article down below as well. Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin and the Republicans raid the Veterans Home Fund. Now, as you all know, I'm a veteran's wife. I'm also a veteran's daughter. And my mama is a veteran's widow. Thanks to the wonderful insurance that the VA provides for my mother, she was able to get decent health care during this health crisis of hers. So veterans are very close to my heart. Very, very close to my heart. And for Scott Walker to basically cut funding for veterans nursing homes, fuck you, Scott Walker. I hope you rot in hell. Because you're a fucking Christian. You know, you believe in that shit. Personally, I think you're going to go through your hell before you die. So that's what's going on there, kids. I will do another video tomorrow on the argument section of Zellner's brief. So tune in for that. Don't forget to subscribe to me here on YouTube. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Mama Phoenix 6. I've been talking a lot of shit about this motion and what it means for the state of Wisconsin there. Don't forget to boogie on over to the About page here on my channel. You'll find my Facebook fan page where I put up a lot of links, not just to the Stephen Avery case, but also to the Scott Davis case, as well as a new case that I'm looking into, the David Thorne case. Whew, I thought Wisconsin was bad. Jesus Christ, Ohio's like right up there, guys, and I've only gotten like this far in. So don't forget to check that out. And yeah, so thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you soon.